This is the tutorial for the Easy Peasy lunch bag. There's a lot of materials that go with this project. You're going to start out with a 1.5 by 8 inch piece of Insulbrite, and then a 3 by 9 inch piece of your regular main fabric. You'll have two sets of fabric that include a 5 by 9 inch piece of fabric of liner and of Insulbrite. Each of those have a 5 by 9, and then one long piece of fabric, liner, and Insulbrite that are each 26 by 7.5 inches. You also need a spray adhesive. You're going to take each of your pieces of fabric, spray the fabric piece on the wrong side, then lay the Insulbrite down on top of it, and then the fabric will stick to the Insulbrite. That is an example of the handle. And then you'll also do that with, these are your side pieces. So the side piece, you're spraying on the wrong side of the fabric, laying the Insulbrite down, and then laying the liner piece down on top of that. And you want to really smooth it out and make sure that there's no wrinkles. Repeat that same step with your other side. So this is that 5 by 9 inch piece of fabric, Insulbrite, and liner. And then also for the main bag piece, again, the wrong side of the fabric is what gets sprayed with the spray adhesive. The Insulbrite goes down next. Followed by the liner. And again, you just want to make sure it's nice and smooth. This will just help your pieces stay together when you're sewing them. What you're going to do next is trim up any edges that were cut a little long. So it's your job to make sure that all of your pieces fit together nicely and trim them up. Okay, next we're going to take it over to the serger. You're going to serge right along the edge and just do a nice neat serge. Remember to take your time and go slow. And you're doing this on all 4 sides of all 3 of the rectangular pieces that are the main parts of the bag. So the large 26 by 7.5 inch rectangle, and then your 2 side pieces that are 5 by 9 inches each. You are not going to be serging your handle. You'll be working with it a little bit later. So after each of your sides are sewn with the serger, you'll want to take your shears and trim off the edges and just do as nice and neat of a job as you possibly can, keeping that fabric smooth and straight and trying to prevent any wrinkles from forming as you work. All right, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take your Velcro pieces. These are the fuzzy pieces, so they're a little softer, and those are going to be 3 inches each. And then for your pokey Velcro, those need to be 1.5 inches each. You're going to trim down the corners so they're rounded just slightly on your pokey Velcro. It just gives it a nicer look. And then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to attach your pokey Velcro. Those are the 1.5 inch ones. And you'll do that 1/2 inch from the top of the bag and 1/2 inch in on the side. So you'll measure 1/2 inch from the top, 1/2 inch from the side, and you'll put a single pin through the middle of the Velcro to hold it in place, and you repeat that on both sides. Next, you're going to stitch around the Velcro. So you'll do this in a rectangular pattern, starting at one end of the Velcro, about 1/8 of an inch in, and you'll pivot at all 4 of the corners. Backstitch where you start and where you stop. Repeat that on the other piece of Velcro. Okay, next you're going to go the opposite end of where your pokey Velcro is and on the wrong side of your fabric. So this is on the liner side, and you're going to attach your soft pieces of Velcro. You're going to measure down from the top of the bag about 1/2 inch, and then in from the side 1 inch. Again, you're going to use a single pin to hold it in place, and then you'll repeat that on the other side. So that's 1/2 inch down and 1 inch from the side. Very similarly to how you attached the other pieces of Velcro, you're going to sew in a rectangular fashion, pivoting on all 4 corners, and you'll want to make sure you backstitch where you start and where you stop sewing to secure those. And be careful with your pin that you don't break your needle when you sew over, but it does kind of help to hold it in place. So depending on what we decide to do in class, there's a couple different ways of doing these handles. The way that I had done it is I folded in the side edges already 1/4 of an inch. And then what I'm doing now is I'm just doing a top stitch around all 4 of the sides of the rectangle, and then 1 straight stitch directly down the middle of the handle. To attach the handle, you're going to look for your long rectangular Velcro stitches, and you're going to attach the handle at the top of the end of your stitching. So they won't overlap with your Velcro, but it'll be just above it. And you want to make sure that the ends lay flat. To sew these on, you're going to head over to your sewing machine, and you're going to sew straight across till you get to the corner, and then you're going to pivot up. And the next thing you'll do is stitch a diagonal stitch. So you're going to make an X shape on your handle. And then you want to just finish out the shape of a square. So it ends up looking like a square with an X inside of it. And that just allows you to have a more secure handle. That over time would help you keep the handle from ripping off. Alright, so now that the handle is attached, you can start forming the sides. You're going to take the 5x9 inch piece, lay it right sides together with the top of your bag. That's the side with the pokey Velcro. Then you're going to pivot and stitch down the 5-inch side of that same piece, and then you'll rotate again and stitch down the other side that's also 9 inches. You'll repeat the same thing with the other half of the bag, stitching down from the top of the 9-inch side. Backstitch where you start and stop on this, and we're sewing with our wrong sides together. Stitching down the 5-inch side, and then you want to backstitch. When you get to the last side, this is your last 9-inch side, you're just going to have wrong sides together again. For all of this, I've been using a 1/4 of an inch seam, but just for ease, if you would like to use the edge of your presser foot, that would be fine as well, which is more of a 3/8 seam allowance.